Hey everyone, you're listening to the Active Turnkey Podcast, a podcast designed for hands-off, passive real estate rental investors. In the Active Turnkey Podcast, you'll hear Tom Olson and Jared Stoltmeister discuss all things turnkey rentals with other turnkey providers, service providers, and rental investors. Our goal is to help you reach your financial freedom and whatever comes after that. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Active Turnkey Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Stoltmeister, and I have with me the Tom Olson.
And better known as your father.
Yeah, he is. That's all he's been doing. You see that? He's
been going around scaring people with this sweatshirt. If you are listening to the podcast and not watching it, I am wearing this super bright red Star Wars Christmassy sweater.
It's the sweater that's scaring people, not Tom.
Yes,
certainly.
Well, it could be a little bit of both, depending on who it is and what circumstance they're meeting me under.
Yeah, so he's festive, and I didn't get the memo, obviously, because now look at me.
No.
Okay, so it's a rare day.
So Jared's going to the beach, and I'm going to go to the Christmas party.
Yeah, today it's December while we're recording this podcast, and Tom is dressed appropriately. It is December. I think that's fair. I'm also dressed appropriately because today is a weird day in Northwest Indiana. It's a day where you have almost supposed to be up to almost 60
degrees today, yes.
In December in Northwest Indiana.
Yes.
So yeah, I think
like
both of us
days
are appropriate.
In December.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, typically in Northwest Indiana, when you have this day, you pay for it.
Yes.
You feel the pain, and it's a shock to your body. But I'm willing to take on that pain and shock.
We'll suffer today in this weather.
Yes.
For that.
So if you're out there and you're kind of wondering what's going on, that's why we are dressed so differently. And but yeah, we are back, and so last year we did a podcast at the end of the year, and we want to do one similar to that this year, and we're calling this our 2021 shout outs.
Yeah, and something that we do here at our office, we have what's called a city hall meeting for all the people in that work for us. So right now there's about 30 people that will show up to this meeting. We do it about once or twice a month. We like to do it twice a month, but in some months like December, when you have a lot of other stuff going on, even November, sometimes we only get one of these meetings in a month, but we like to do them 2 times a month. But one of the I don't know, the most fun part of that to me, and I think what most people look forward to the most is when we do shout outs. So we open up our meeting with prayer requests and, things that you feel like maybe, answers of prayer. But then we get right into, and after that, we get right into like, who did something good this week or the last couple of weeks that you caught doing something good or something, or just somebody that you're, thankful for, and you want to just give them a shout out. So, and to me, like, being thankful is a big part of our culture. It's a big part of who I am personally. Even it's one of our family rules. All of our family rules in our household, Jared, are like 2-sided. Give gifts as our last core value or our last family rule. But on the other side of that is like, don't be so selfish. But so our 2-sided to being thankful is no whining allowed. So if you're whining, you probably aren't being thankful, right? And if you're being thankful, you're probably not whining. So there is a lot of, and it's interesting, Jared, the time of the year that most people whine the most should be the time of the year where we're the most thankful.
Yeah, that's good. That's
and I think this is a very appropriate time of the year to just encourage everybody, to exhort everybody to be thankful. And it shouldn't just be a part of our culture. It should just be a part, but it should be a part of us. It should be a part of me. It should be a part of Jared. It should be a part of our households. It should be a part of our businesses. And it really should be a part of our life. Every day we ought to be on purpose trying to find people to be thankful for, people in our lives that we wouldn't think to be thankful for. Like, for instance, our tenants, our residents, to me, like, we should be thankful for them. And we should thank them for renting, for being our customer, for renting our properties. I think one of the people that I see in what we do, Jared, that gets no thanks. I mean, really, they get no thanks from anywhere, from anybody, is property managers. So property managers that are kind of in this like stewardship role from an owner, but also kind of in this like weird role from a tenant. To hear thank you for being my property manager is so encouraging to the people that manage, whether you're a tenant or whether you are, and some of you are probably landlords. You probably own rental properties that are listening to this, and you may also lease something else. Maybe you lease a storage unit, or maybe you lease a house, or maybe you just lease an Airbnb every once in a while. And we own 15 of those as well. We manage some of those Airbnb, vacation rental, corporate rental type of settings. And I guarantee you, if you were to just stop on your way out and send a message to that person where you're staying at their Airbnb and just thank them for a good stay, or thank them for whatever you can be thankful for them, even a hotel. If you think about it, like, when was the last time you were down in the lobby and you heard somebody thanking the people there for their stay? I mean, it's endless. I mean, to me, it's almost fun to think about sometimes. I was just on the phone call with a really great investor of ours. He loves working with us. He's loaned us a lot of money over the years, and he's even talking about bringing more investors to our network and having a connection with. And something that he likes to do, which I thought was pretty cool, he will stuff like a stack of cash in his suit coat pocket, and he wears this like really really colorful, like I'm wearing right now, suit coat that has like all Christmassy out. And he one of the funnest things that he loves to do, is that a word, funnest? Probably not. But one of the things that he loves to do around the holidays is he loves to go out and find people in need. Or there's these certain people that he's done this for like the last 5 or 6 years, and they've moved jobs. So now it's it's almost like a human a scavenger hunt to try to figure out where they work this year and try to find these people and do something special for them. But so to me, I think being thankful can be that way. I think it can be contagious. At church on Sunday night, and I wasn't planning on bringing this up, but it kind of just hits the right moment. Sure. Our pastor did this thing where we talked about the history of our church, and then he said, all of you out there somebody in our church has done something special for you, or they meant something to you over the years. I just want you to raise your hand and just name them by name and just let us know why you're thankful for them. And there was probably 30, 50 hands that got what their story was out there, but then there's probably another 30 or 40 hands that didn't get answered, that they didn't get called because we didn't have enough time. In fact, we were going late. And it was great because that's not a typical thing you would see in a church service. Normally the pastor is up there and they are exhorting, they are teaching, they are encouraging people to do right, or even to be thankful, like we're trying to do here. But it was great to see it in action. It was great and then it was almost contagious, because when other people started mentioning somebody that they were thankful for, it made you think of somebody that maybe you were thankful for. And I think that's great. I think that spiritual, it's like a spiritual realm that you kind of enter. And you just start thinking about, wow, like I really have a lot to be thankful for. It changes your perspective. Oh, sure. But then to take it a step farther and actually go find those people and try to thank them or openly give gratitude, or openly tell people about somebody else. I openly often will tell everybody how awesome I think Jared does and helps me run Olsen Group, and how awesome I think our CFO Christy is, and how awesome I think Becky does when she runs our vacation rentals and our portfolio, and how awesome I think Cheryl does when she manages our rentals. And our property management company, and Adam as well, just coming on board as our asset leader for our lending company and our fund that we're starting up. To me, like it is awesome, because when I do that, it's almost like those people that hear me brag on somebody else, now like it's almost like put a little seed in them to go and be thankful and go tell somebody else about something that is good in their life as well. So that's what we're going to do today. We've already kind of talked, quite a bit about, why we're going to do it. And I think it's important to talk about why we're going to do it. But so Jared, who are some of the people that you're thankful for that you want to give a shout out to in 2021?
I'd like to start off by thanking my wife. She is she does do some sub work for our company. She'll go and do some cleaning for jobs. So if you guys have purchased a turnkey property from us or a flip, she may have cleaned the house before it was marketed.
If it was clean good, right?
Yeah, sure. On the record, 100%. But so my wife and I were at an activity around Halloween, and we went bowling, and she fell and broke her wrist, and it was her dominant hand. And so
that's how she broke her wrist, Jared.
That is the.
It had nothing to do with her trying to slap you upside the head.
No. That is the official
the response.
Yeah. But everybody has given that answer because of that.
I don't know why, Jared.
There couldn't be a reason for it. But she, I mean, I think naturally it's typical for a husband or a wife to appreciate and want to thank their spouse, but there's a lot of things that she hasn't been able to do that is to her is devastating. But just because it's her dominant hand, one of the things she loves about Christmas is wrapping presents, and she can't do that. In fact,
really, she loves wrapping presents.
She loves.
I hate wrapping presents.
It's one of her favorite things to do. It's crazy. I'm with you. I don't like doing it either. I just put it in a gift bag or something.
We have a bunch of presents here, Jared.
I know, but it pains her to walk by that room and to see all that. So anyway, just one little illustration for her what she hasn't been able to do, and I'm just thankful for her and who she is as a person, and so I'm certainly thankful for my wife and health and also our children. Naturally, you go to them first, but I do think oftentimes your family members are the ones you tend to show your ugly side the most. Because you know they love you, sometimes you may say things that you wouldn't say to anybody else because of, well, hey, you don't talk that way to.
We were just talking about that in our office this morning, weren't we? Like how working with family members sometimes is awesome, and I really I love that opportunity to work with family members. But sometimes, there's somebody in our office that's waiting on a family member to get something done at one of his rental properties, and it's taking forever. And he's just like, I wish, maybe. Yeah. It's one of those hard things, but family is always something that we should be constantly thinking about and being thankful for. You've got kids playing sports now.
It's true. I'm wearing a band today,
I got to see Brian, his son, hit a 3-pointer with less than 2 minutes, and it kind of put the team. I think it tied. I'm not 100% sure. I think he tied the game. And we ended up coming back and winning that game. We probably shouldn't have won that game. We were, it was back and forth, really, the whole game. We were winning, they were winning, we were winning. And we ended up squeaking out a 2-point win. The other team may have been a little bit more talented than us, but I believe we worked harder, and I believe that we deserved the win. And I told the guys that it was a really good game. But you also have a daughter.
Yeah, Josie's playing volleyball. She played this morning. I'm going to go see her tonight. Her last game of the year is tonight. And awesome. And so, when you really think about it, though, I'm so blessed in that situation to be able to have kids who can play a sport. Not necessarily that they're gifted enough to make a team, because that doesn't really mean much. But as far as like being actively able, and you can go that far as our own personal health, being able to get out of bed and that we can see and hear and think and taste and smell, all of those things. That's very easy to take for granted.
Yeah, one of those things I used to pray, and I wish I could tell you that I prayed it as often as I used to, but it was like, please keep us healthy. Like when you start having kids, one of those things that like just scares you to death as a parent is are my kids gonna end up with something, or is it gonna be my kid that has Down syndrome or has whatever. It doesn't matter what it is, and it's not that there's anything wrong with those things, and but it's like it's a fear that we have. So being thankful that your kids are healthy, being thankful for our wife. I actually had my wife written down here too, so I won't spend too much time on the wife thing.
She's a little different. But she's also
my wife is awesome, and she's a coworker, and she does an amazing job. And we are celebrating 24 years together, so she has put up with me for 24 years. So that's definitely something that I could be thankful for.
That is amazing. That's love.
Yeah, you got it. Love. So having kids, but also kind of even before that, the God above that gave us the opportunity to, the Bible says, if you found a wife, you found a good thing, and to be blessed with children as well. I talked about this when I talked about my mother-in-law on the radio, who we lost a couple of years ago. One of the things that I think about when I think about my mother-in-law was blessed, because she had so many kids, and her kids had so many kids. There was a lot of grandchildren, and it was just, that's a kind of like I don't know, when I think of the word blessed, I think of like having kids. I think of, having people around you. And I believe that we are blessed. We're blessed. I mean, think about it. Like, we're blessed to just live in America.
Yeah.
And as much as we think that there's so many things wrong with America today, and we are definitely, in my opinion, heading in the wrong direction, the exact opposite wrong direction, we still live in America where we still do have freedoms that other people don't have.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I was going to bring that up too. So especially today, even with all the relief we've been getting with, some people have been getting money monthly. I had the privilege and the opportunity to go to, I know Tom has mentioned his Guatemala trip he had recently. I was able to go to Ghana, West Africa a few weeks ago. And one thing that was really interesting is actually Ghana is a third world country, but it's considered a wealthier third world. So like people around it, they're poor. From the Ghanaians, that's what they would say. But what's really interesting to me is even from a country where there's work and they can eat, but even then, third world country, in that situation, when mom and dad get sick, there's nothing. And so although many of us may get really irritated with America and how people take advantage of the system in many cases, it is good and beneficial to have programs for people who desperately need it. In those countries, they don't have it. When their mom and dad dies, they got to go to a family, and their family may or may not take care of them. And so to live in a country that does take care of the poor, and even though some may take advantage of it, it's pretty awesome.
And to even think about like the opportunity we have here. There is a reason why people come from other countries and come to the United States, because it is still the land of opportunity. And especially like to kind of like circle back around, one of our favorite statements now in our
I use it often.
in our
people love it,
our business here. But to circle back around into real estate, if there's one country where real estate is a real opportunity, it is in the United States.
Sure.
And I know from going to other countries that in most other countries, people don't sell their properties. It's not like the United States where people buy and sell every 5-10 years. Like most people are moving every 5 to 10 years. Banks know it. The whole system's kind of built on it. Even what we do is enabled because people buy and sell homes. And but you go to a country like Guatemala, and like they don't sell their houses. It's like it goes from one generation to the next generation to the next. They don't have realtors are not a big thing down there. In fact, there's barely any of them. So to understand, like to be thankful that we live in America, we have this opportunity, we have the tax advantages that we still have, and maybe some of them may be going away at some point. I don't know if they'll get rid of the 1031. I don't know if they're gonna, but I'm not gonna worry about that right now. I'm not gonna fear about all that right now. Are there things that I want to do in my business and thought process to maybe prepare for inflation? Absolutely. Are there things that I want to do in my life to prepare for 2022 and maybe change the way we're doing some things from here to here, from the way the government changes? Absolutely. But we still have opportunity, and it's something that we should definitely be thankful for.
Yeah, I think if you just think about it, we could definitely get frustrated, but to have a choice, to actually have a choice to do something like that. Most people, it's not even an option. But we get to choose yay or nay. That's pretty cool.
So Jared, when you're thinking business and you're thinking about what we do for Active Turnkey and for Olsen Group Network, where we do build rental portfolios for investors, who are some people maybe that you think that we ought to think about and thank this year?
Well, you mentioned them briefly, but excuse me, I got a little bit of a tickle there, but no, I think of
maybe that's how your wife hurt herself. She was trying to hit you. She was trying to help you
clear my throat. Didn't work, and she got it up though. It worked. No, she cleared it up. So doing what we do, we have a lot of opportunity to see what other people do. So one of our strategies we talked about in a previous podcast was acquiring occupied properties, and we talked about the pros and cons, and the pros are good and the cons are bad. I mean, there's going to be some really negative things. You can take on some real problems. And those problems have revealed some areas that we excel in and maybe some areas of improvement. But that being said, when you think about having a property management company that is concerned about both of their customers, they're concerned about the owner and the tenant, and providing a good service to both. That's not always normal. And so I'm an investor myself, and having a company that I can trust is going to be a good steward of my property. They're not perfect, but they do try to excel and have success. And so right off the bat, to be a turnkey provider, especially one like us where we want to provide the best service with an in-house property management company, without that piece, we could do what we do, but I don't think we could provide the service we provide and provide the assurance that most of our investors get by having the property management company. So it's something we talked about ad nauseum for many podcasts, but to be thankful for that, and that team and each individual, and they're improving daily. We're adding really good people it seems like on a weekly or monthly basis on that team. And so it's just really neat to see how they're just growing rapidly, and still being hungry to learn and improve. It's been pretty awesome.
Yeah, so we're definitely thankful for our property manager and the whole team.
Yeah,
I think Cheryl does a great job with that, and it's a job that I didn't want to have to take on myself in order to do what we do. And she does a great job with it. And even, Nicole, who helps like with the evictions, like that's a hard job for people to do, but somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
Our attorney who helps with the evictions, our attorney who helps vet our contracts, and I'm thankful for Mike, who's who helps with that. I'm thankful for our title company.
Yeah.
Indiana Title Network has been awesome for us to work with over the last 10 years. We've done a couple thousand deals of transactions with them back to back, or buying and selling. So there's definitely some people out there that we are thankful for. And if you're listening to this podcast, I hope that you get to hear that from us, that we are thankful for our title company. We're thankful for Mike and Jen that work up there, Indiana Title Network, and some other people. But our whole team here at Olson Property Services, thankful for them. Thankful for our contractors who do the work to get these houses up and ready to go. Yeah. Our acquisitions team who acquires properties. Jared, who helps sell properties and helps the transition between the people that buy and people that are now owners. Those are all, like, every single one of those people we're thankful for, and we want you guys to know that we are thankful for them.
Yeah, you remove any one of those each one of those pieces have been pain points for us in the past. I mean, really, there have been times where sales could have been an issue. The B2C sale, acquisitions has been issues. This year, we're actually on target to hit our yearly goal from the beginning. And in a year a time when acquisitions is difficult. But
most people are really struggling trying to find houses,
and we're getting deals, and sometimes we're kind of surprised how they come. It seems like deals are coming out of the woodwork, especially the last 6 months. I feel like they've really just done a great job, and we haven't changed strategies really. I just think we've just kept the nose to the grindstone, and we've been blessed in that situation. And contractors too. We had a contractor event a few weeks ago, actually about a month ago or so, and what was really neat was to be able to describe to them that yes, you're doing rehabs, and we're selling houses, but as particularly those of you who like to invest in Gary, to be able to have an impact, I felt like it was my responsibility to tell them that they have a big part in helping shape the facelift of Gary. It's such a huge deal. And most of you who have purchased from us, you've seen our product. It's a good product. And so for those contractors to be part of that, and so that was really fun to be able to talk to them and help talk to them about what they can do. You mentioned Becky, but Becky, she is a broker, and so she's also been a listing agent, and so she our listing agent for our properties that we sell. And so for many of you investors this year, it's been a little less deals flow coming your way. And it hasn't been because of what we've brought in. I've already mentioned we have picked up a lot of deals this year, but the market has shifted in a sense, and that's something to be thankful for, certainly. But
now, at some point, if rents go as fast as they're moving right now, I could see that some of these properties now go back to investors. And I'm looking around the country, Jared.
Yeah,
this is just a seed, planting a seed out there, I guess. But I am looking around the country, and most of the turnkeys that are being sold are over $200,000. And some of these are only renting for $1,600, and we've been really trying to stick to that 1% rule, and we've been trying to keep it for people as long as we possibly can keep it for. But I do see that, for us, maybe loosening up over the next year. And if people are interested in buying those that don't get the 1% rule, we may be able to kind of move some of those sales back to the owners. Yeah,
a couple years ago when interest rates were higher, it was really important to get to that 1% rule. It was a big deal. Now,
that's true.
At least for today, while interest rates are low, it is not as as important to get above that. You can still get similar cash flow or greater cash flow today because of how
well, and sometimes a property only taxes and insurance are only so much, so they're not that much more sometimes for that extra $50,000. So you know, like you might be paying $50,000 more than what you're used to for a turnkey property, but the rents are, again, like you've got to make sure the rents make sense. As long as the rents are certain high enough, they do end up like you said with you know, the same cash flow. Sometimes even better when they don't hit that 1% rule.
Well, especially those of you who really like the C+ or better neighborhoods, or you're looking to diversify. So we have some investors who've really gone aggressive into Gary because of the opportunity and inventory, and some people, because of price points, may be fearful of the numbers, but the numbers are still good comparative to what we were selling 4 or 5 years ago turnkey with the higher interest rates. They just really were. So that's definitely something to think about. But I wanted to thank Becky, because as a listing agent, she has really set the tone. And frankly, for many of you investors who have bought from us, she does set the vision at the beginning. So we have the advantage of having our designer also be our listing agent. So she's selling the property basically at the very beginning of the deal. She's setting the vision at the property. And so I definitely want to say thank you to Becky for doing that. And if you like your property that you purchased from us, or you like what our product is, that's been she's been a big part of that.
And another great opportunity to work with Becky, and as many people have been working with her this year, and some continue to. Some of our buyers who bought properties from us 5, 6, 7 years ago are now looking at how much these homes have appreciated, and they're thinking, my goodness, like how long is it going to take me to make $100,000 in my rents? And I think that's something, it's always a conversation, something you ought to be thinking through. I don't think right now is the time for everybody to buy, but for some people that have a lot of equity, I think it's something you at least should consider through that time frame. And she's worked with a lot of people, and she's done a great job trying to sell those properties and make those things happen for our investors. And it is something that we offer as well. I think it's actually, you know, I had one of my investors, you know, tell us, like, it's so awesome to be able to work with the same person when you buy them, that you knew rehabbed it, that you also work with in property management, and then you even work with those same people on selling, and it's all just one stop shop, working with, you know, one company to make all those things happen. Is something I'm thankful for that we can actually provide. A couple more people, Jared. We don't have much more time left in this podcast here, but I wanted to get to lenders. That's good. So, you know, the people that have loaned us money to allow us to be able to buy the properties, to create the turnkey product, I'm really thankful for you. And honestly, some of the people that are our lenders are also our buyers. I've actually had a buyer actually buy one of the houses that he loaned on. So it's kind of funny when that happens. But like, we use private lenders to you know, and I'm not out there trying to, you know, get more lenders. Although if you are interested, we can talk about that. But so people loan us money for us to be able to create the product, and then for us to be able to sell. Sometimes to the same pool, but sometimes to different pools. Some people just have a different mindset, and they're thinking, I want to be a private lender. Some people have a different mindset. They want to own the asset. They want the appreciation. They want the depreciation. It just depends on where you're at. Some people just want both. But I definitely am thankful for our lenders and the people that have stuck with us. And you've told your friends about us, because they keep calling us and asking us for more deals. So if you're listening to this and you're a buyer and you're thinking, man, I wish I had more deals. Well, guess what? Our lenders are doing the exact same thing. So I appreciate our lenders for that.
Yeah, one person you did mention already was Christy and the finance team. So internally, we have multiple different companies. So I lead the asset as far as like the asset-based properties for Olson Group Network, and so she is a finance CFO for all of them. And so we have like 4 or 5 companies in house, 6 companies actually in house, and she runs finances for all that, and very detailed, puts in extra hours that are needed to make sure things are done properly. And so, you know, coming from where I came from, you know, it was more, you know, about your job and doing your thing. But working with Tom, this company has helped me be more aware of certainly that piece, and making sure we're above board, and working with accountants and such. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, and to bring that up, like, we're talking right now about starting a fund, and a lot of people that talk to me about having a fund, they're saying like how much extra scrutiny it has, and how much extra bookkeeping it has to have. And when we're going through a lot of this, like what extra stuff you have to have, like, The only extra step that we have to do, in addition to what we're already doing, is just have an accountant like basically review our books every quarter. I mean, we're almost there. There may be some little tweaks and some processes that we're doing, but like I'm pretty proud of the fact that I spend way more money than most entrepreneurs do on my finance team. And I've had lots of investors ask me, how do you have this many people working in your finance department? And I'm like, well, I'm just willing to make a little bit less money because I want to make sure of where my money's at. To me, it's a very big deal to me to make sure that we know that. A couple other people, I didn't know if you were going to mention them, but I just wanted to mention them as well, is the lenders that we work with to help you guys buy rental properties. And that's Aaron and Jerry. Absolutely. Mostly, there's probably few of you who maybe have your own, lender that you work with, but Aaron and Jerry have been amazing. What are the name of those companies? I think Prime Lending is Jerry's company, and then who is Aaron's company?
I should know this. Security National.
Yeah, I knew it had S in there, but I wasn't 100% sure. But Security National, and many of you guys that have worked with them have known that yes, sometimes it's a pain in the butt, but at the end of the day, they get the job done.
It's necessary.
And I really do appreciate them and they've brought us buyers because they have seen the product that we have put out, and they know that they know who we are, and it's I'm thankful for their referral, but I'm also glad to refer them to as many people as I possibly can.
Yeah, I've used them for my own portfolio as well, and so I really appreciate them, and I can trust that they're going to be taken care of. As far as if you're looking for a lender that's going to take care of you, that's someone that we can recommend, and they're going to get deals done. They're investor friendly, which is really what.
And they understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. So I think that's awesome to have.
I did want to thank our team, Olson Group team. There's a lot of one of the things that Tom has taught us over the years is how long it takes for us to convert a deal. It could take 6 to 8 months to get that cycle switched from the time we purchase a property to the time we sell. And there's a whole lot of moving parts there. And it's from our acquisition team to our construction team to the sales and closing departments and the finance, all that stuff that goes into that. And then communicating with the parties afterward with lending and with property management, all the different moving parts there. I really want to thank our team for the work that they do and the improvements we've made over the year. But one thing I'd like to be thankful, I'm thankful for you, Tom, as the owner and operator of all these companies. Thank you for the opportunity. Whenever I get a chance to host, which is usually every other Friday or so, I get to host investors. I usually tell them one of the favorite parts of my job is the first call and hosting, and the reason why is I typically don't like sales. I think Tom's learned that from me. I don't like sales, or I should say learned about me, is I don't like sales that much because in many cases my perception of sales is someone's trying to get me to buy something I don't want. So when I go shopping, I don't like being pestered. I don't like any of that stuff. But here for me, I love what I do because first of all, I really believe what we're doing. I'm selling it and I try to bring that. I'm investing myself. And so I enjoy what I get to do. Now, are there parts of this job because of my personality type that aren't suited for Jared as much? Yes, but overall, I love what I get to do. I think there's value in it, and so we get to really help people, and it's something that's really exciting to be part of. So thank you, Tom, and thank you, Olson Group.
Well, I appreciate that, Jared. There's one more person I want to thank, and that is you all. Thank you for listening to the Active Turnkey podcast. Thank you for buying our products. So if you're a buyer of our turnkey products, our turnkey buyer, our turnkey houses, we appreciate you. We appreciate you as investors and trusting us to be a good steward for you and try to make the property better and try to help it perform better than maybe you could if you even did it on your own. And that's what we strive to do. I'm sure that there's times that we fail, but I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your trust in us, and I don't take it lightly. I just want to make sure that we let you guys know that. And then just one last thing before we stop is, and I just want to ask you guys all a question. Who are you thankful for? Who has had an impact on your life? There's so many people that have had an impact on my life. There's no way that I'd be anywhere close to as successful as I am, or even being in the position that I have as far as influence, as far as owning the companies that we have and the team that we have without the people that have invested in me. And I'm so thankful for those people. I can think all the way back to a man named Randy Erickson, who had a huge impact on me, and to Mr. Dye, who was my coach in junior high, all the way back to Mr. Legallo in teaching me how you hit a baseball, is you watch the ball hit the bat. Those words are still ingrained into my mind. You watch the ball, and it never clicked. I was always a decent hitter, but as soon as he said that, watch the ball hit the bat, my batting average just shot right up, and I was hitting way more home runs than I ever hit before, and I wasn't even swinging harder. I thought I had to swing harder, right? I thought you just have to, if you just swing harder, you'll hit more home runs, you'll hit the ball farther and harder, and no, it's more about making that solid contact. And a lot of people invested in me throughout the years. Thankful for my wife, thankful for my kids, thankful for the opportunities that we get to have, but very thankful for you. Who are you thankful for? We would love to hear from you. And I'm just going to challenge everybody during the Christmas season and during this December 2021, don't just worry about everything that maybe the government's doing that you don't appreciate or don't agree with. Don't spend your time worrying about what you're going to get for Christmas. Don't spend your time worrying about the future. Spend time being thankful for people and telling everybody who you're thankful for. Go shout it on the housetops, who you're thankful for, but also find some opportunities to go and tell those people personally, how they've made an impact on your life and how they've helped you, and maybe go do something for them. Maybe send them a card or send them a Christmas gift. I believe that you will have a much better holiday spirit, and I believe that you will you'll come around in 2022 and be a better person because of it. So that's my challenge to you, is to be thankful this holiday season. Tell people you're thankful and tell others who you're thankful for.
Now, one thing I'll finish is Tom's sweater is pretty cool. For those of you who don't get to see it,
it is.
Go to YouTube, you can watch it. It's a cool sweater. However, someday, some of you may be watching this now in 2035 or something, who knows, and you're thinking that is a hideous sweater.
Yeah.
But the one thing about giving thanks,
this is the ugliest sweater I've got.
Yeah, it's the ugliest one. Giving thanks is always in style. It always
You got
works.
it. That's true.
And so always do it, and it'll definitely change your situation, and it should change your perspective. So thank you for joining us in the podcast. Hope you have a great holiday season. We pray you be safe and be kind. And thank you for joining us today. We
Active Turnkey,
it. The best way to buy rentals. See you guys.
Hi everyone, my name is Ish Deserum. I am a client of Olsen Property Services. I am an out-of-state investor, so I really am reliant on a solid group of people on the ground who can manage my portfolio in Northwest Indiana, and I have been able to find that in the OPS team. One thing I think that really differentiates them from others is their personal touch. Shout out to Cheryl and the team. They've done a phenomenal job, and check them out. Thanks.
Olsen Group Network makes no warranty, guarantee, or representation as to the accuracy or sufficiency of the information featured in this podcast. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. This podcast should not be considered professional advice. Unless specifically stated otherwise, Olsen Group Network does not endorse, approve, recommend, or certify any information, product, process, service, or organization presented or mentioned in this podcast, and information from this podcast should not be referenced in any way to imply such approval or endorsement. Any third-party materials or content of any third-party site referenced in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the opinions, standards, or policies of Olsen Group Network. Olsen Group Network assumes no responsibility or liability for the accuracy or completeness of the content contained in third-party materials or on third-party sites referenced in this podcast, or the compliance with the applicable laws of such materials and/or links referenced herein.